You probably ain't gonna hear about these laws of human nature in your psychology class, and no psychology degree will teach you this. So I'm going to tell it to you because I'm that nice of a guy. So without further ado, let's begin and get into the first law of nature no one's gonna teach you. And the first one is the law of abundance. Now, what is the law of abundance, or what I call the law of abundance? Well, it is very simply the more you have of something, the easier it is to get it, and the more people want to give it to you. So, for example, if you have a lot of friends, a lot of people want to be friends with you. If you have a lot of money, a lot of people want to come and give you business offers to make even more money, and so on. So the more you have of something, or at least the more people perceive that you have of something, the more they want to give that stuff to you. So if you are a popular guy at the school, everyone wants to be your friend, because everyone views you as the guy who is the friend of basically everyone. But if you are viewed as a guy who has no friends, then nobody wants to be friends with you. So it's actually super important that you have an image, and the perception of people that you have of you is as a person who has a lot of the things that you want. So if you want to make more friends, then you have to appear as a person who has a lot of friends, even if you don't actually have a lot of friends. And well, the good thing is that all of this is simply perception. You don't actually have to have a lot of friends. You just have to appear as the type of person who has a lot of friends, and act like the type of person who has a lot of friends. And then people will want to be your friend because, well, they think that you have a lot of friends. And the same goes with basically anything that you could want. And so it's always hard to get the first one. The ball is hard to get rolling, but once you get it rolling, all of a sudden it's super easy. So another example could be if you look at YouTube videos, like the one that I have right here. You probably saw that 0 views. That didn't make you want to click, because it's 0 views. I mean, it says 0 views. It must be bad. Nobody wants to watch this. But if you see a video with 1 million views, all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? Must be correct information. Must be something valuable, and therefore you're gonna click on it. So the more you have views, the more people wanna view your video. The less you have views, the less people wanna view it. And once again, it applies to absolutely everything. You walk to the store, and if there is a item at the store that no one's buying, then you don't want to buy it. If there's an item at the store that everyone is buying, then you're like, man, that must be a good thing, I better go and buy it. And that's how trends come around. Everyone's talking about this thing, everyone's buying this thing, everyone's wearing this clothes, therefore I have to. Because humans are, in many ways, NPCs, or at least most of them, and so they fall into these group pressures and so on very easily. Now let's move on to the second law of nature that no one will teach you, and I call it the Bateman's law. Yes, because it is literally from Patrick Bateman, from the American Psycho, and it goes like this: inside doesn't matter. And it's completely true. Inside does not matter. If you have talents, if you have wisdom, if you have ideas that are fantastic, but you never put them into the outside world, you keep it on the inside, you don't speak about them, you don't show them, then they might as well not exist. Everything that is on the inside, no one else knows. The same way that when you look at a person, you do not know their thoughts, you do not know their intentions, you only know the actions that they took, and you can only judge them by the actions that they took. The same way everyone will view you. So if you have fantastic talents and ideas that you want to share, but you're not sharing them, then no wonder people won't appreciate them, because they don't even know them. They can judge you only by your actions, and so only your actions matter. What you have on the inside doesn't matter. You could do something out of goodwill, but because it turned out bad and people can't know your intentions, they think you're evil. And I think a lot of people have these examples from their own lives where they intended to do good, but something bad happened, even if it's out of their control, and then people are like, why'd you do that? And it's like, well, my intention was good, but people cannot know your intention. They can only know your actions. And so if you have this feeling of, man, if only people knew the talents that I have, if only people knew the fantastic ideas that I have, and how creative I am, and how this and that about me, if only they knew, well, tell them, show them, make it clear with your actions that you actually have these qualities, and then people will know. It is completely your fault if you keep it on the inside and never show it to the world. And if you never show it to the world, then it might as well not exist. Because things on the inside don't matter. They don't influence the world because they're on the inside, not on the outside. And they aren't even seen by anyone because they're on the inside. Only you are aware of them and no one else. And so now let's look at the third law of nature. The third law of nature. And what is the third law of nature? Well, this is a very broad one, but it's basically just everything is evolution. The moment you understand evolution is the moment you understand humans and their actions. Very simply, 99% of people are simply slaves to their instincts. You know, every now and then you see that 1% person who's like, oh, they can actually think for themselves. They are not simply slaves to the instincts of evolution that they have. They can actually use their free will. But most people are completely just acting on their instincts and feelings, which are all determined by evolution. And so once you understand evolution, you can understand everything that people do. Because you can simply ask yourself, well, what would the most evolutionarily beneficial thing to do be in that situation? And 99% of the time, the person is gonna do exactly that. And when you reframe your ideas and you look at any situation, you're just like, instead of trying to consider what the human psyche is and what these people are thinking, because you cannot know the inside, remember law 2, you can't know the inside of others, so you just think to yourself, if you were an evolutionary creature, which we are, what is the evolutionary most beneficial thing to do in that situation? And they will basically always do it. Like legit, people are so NPCs, you can just ask yourself, well, what is the beneficial thing according to evolution? And people will always do that. Very simple. That's the third law. So simply, to understand the human psyche fully, and to know each and every action that people are most likely gonna make, like at least 99% of the population, you don't need a psychology degree, don't waste your time with that, it's all pseudoscience anyway. Just understand evolution, and you will literally understand everything about human nature. Because we are evolutionary beings. And only about 1% of people are actually, smart enough and independent enough to break free from the instincts that we have and think for themselves and not be complete slaves to their biological instincts. And so, those were the 3 laws of human nature that no one's gonna teach you except this guy. And so go out there, stay disciplined, chase your dreams, and have a fantastic day.